folks, finally getting another video going here, and because we've had so much rain, we've had like 5 to 7 days of rain in the last couple weeks, so can't really hit the trails like I want to. So I've been wanting to do this video for a while. Actually, this is the third attempt at this video for various reasons, but this video is about e-bikes. Oh no, hiss hiss. I can hear the moans and groans, but this is the perspective of a non-e-bike rider riding an e-bike for, let's pretend, the first time, since obviously I've done this 3 times trying to get this video. But I will discuss the bike, what I like, what I do not like, and that is all with this beautiful backdrop of Rocky Peak Trail that we're headed up. It's about a 17-mile ride, 2,700 feet of climbing, and we're running this here bike in eco mode today. So there's our little preface intro. Yeah, like I said, we had a lot of rain, so it'll be nice to see how the trails handled that. We got a raging stream going through here right now, here on this Los Lajas Trail entry. So yeah, check back in when we get to the climb part. What bike this is a Canyon Spectral CF-8 or ON CF, one of those two. And it is a medium carbon fiber frame mountain bike. It's got, interestingly, it's got a 29er up front and a 27.5 on the back. It's what they call a mullet bike. And that's primarily bought it for my son to ride with me. So he does like it. And I gotta say, as a non-e-bike rider, first testing this thing out, and it is, wow, full on cheating. I feel like a big fat cheater. I'm probably working half as hard as I would normally up this thing here. But it occurred to me, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because I just came off 2 days ago, pretty hard ride, like a 5-hour ride where I was pushing pretty much as hard as I could go, and my legs are sore. So this feels very welcoming in that regard. It's giving me the ability to enjoy this ride where normally I'd be slogging. So that is definitely a good thing. And I definitely am putting some watts down in eco. It's not like I'm just sitting on a motorcycle. I'm having to put down, right now I'd say at least 150 watts to get this motor to kick in. But when it kicks in, oh man, it's like a turbo. It's like nitrous oxide on my mountain bike. So yeah, we're gonna do this. I think this, okay, so let's talk about price. This bike I bought, it's probably 2 years old now, so it was $5,000, which is not cheap, but it is by far the most expensive bike in my entire fleet. But it does have some quality stuff on it. It's got a nice 1151 gear. I believe it's, I'll have to check, it's at least an 11 speed. And if you buy certain times a year, you can get a better price. Ooh. So the MSRP, I got $1,000 off of that, so it was like $39. something like $3,900. Wow, a lot of cows up here, it looks like. You can see that rain damage here. So it's not a cheap bike by any stretch, but like I said, it's got some pretty decent stuff. It's got a 900 watt battery, which I think is one of the larger ones. And I'm still on one bar. We've done 6 miles, 1,300 feet of climbing, and we're still on, sorry, is it four bars? So I haven't lost a bar yet. So evidently in the eco mode, the range is 70 miles. So pretty decent. Pretty comfy bike. Suspension's nice and saggy. It's got some big ass brakes on it because of the weight. So it stops very well. And I think this next segment, chain breaker, we're gonna kick it up to trail mode here and see how we like trail mode, which is you know, the next one up of the 4 modes. The first mode is no battery. Then you got eco, which is supposed to just compensate for the weight. Then you got trail, which is like kind of, I don't want to work too hard, but I want to have more fun. Gotta go slow here because off camber. And then full on motorcycle mode, turbo. I forget what it's called, but I call it turbo. All right, so let's kick up to trail mode here. Immediately you feel the power kicking in, and I'm just powering up this thing without all that much effort. There's some effort. I'm still putting down some watts here, but the motor is definitely kicking in on these climbs. Normally I'd be in my lowest gear right here. Oh, and as harder I push, it's not giving me any more. So I'm over watting the motor, I guess. So if I back it off, then here comes the motor again, just kicking right in. So just as a natural reaction of the steepness, when you pedal harder, doesn't really give you much more. But if I back off, I can feel that motor kicking in. Definitely makes quick work of this climb. They don't call it chain breaker for nothing. So yeah, you can see we had some rain. The dirt's pretty nice in most areas, but there's been a couple really muddy spots. Just got to be gentle to the trail. And we'll keep it rolling through this last segment. Normally right here is where I get a little leg rest before I go to this next tough section. But this bike's handling this no problem. And interestingly enough, if you're riding on the flats and you turn the motor off, it still rides pretty good. You don't even really realize you're on an e-bike until you get some elevation, and then it's too much. This bike is probably 50 some plus pounds. So, and most of that probably the battery. A lot of it's the battery. So, not the best choice for hills is to, if you had a battery, you ran out of battery, it'd be difficult to push any tough climbs without a battery on this thing. That is for sure. But this climb, it's handling this with ease. I'm still working, but I'm not dying. I'm just kind of enjoying it, you know? I enjoy climbing anyway, but when you have sore legs, you got something helping you, you kind of don't mind. Go check this view up out here. And then once again, that motor kicking in. Great little view up here. So out of all the climbing, this is, see, we're at 1600. This would have constituted the majority of the climbing of this ride. So having a little extra help via the motor. Okay. So this is the view up here. God, you can't complain, right? It's one of my Alright, now that I've covered some things I like, let's cover some things I don't like. Okay, so the primary has to be the fact this battery was recalled. For 8 months, could not ride this bike because the battery could explode. Not good. To Canyon's credit, they did issue new batteries for everybody, of course, free of charge. And they gave you a rebate of $260, which brings the cost of this bike down to $3,700-ish, $3,650. But to not be able to ride your bike, if this was your only bike, not be able to ride for 8 months, that's a hard swallow, man. That's too long. Okay, so be that as it may, I'm a rider who has several bikes, and not really an e-bike rider anyway, so it didn't hurt me bad at all, but I couldn't ride with my son for 8 months. Fortunately, he didn't lose interest that much. The other thing is this kind of shoddy water bottle cage system they have. They don't really have bolts. The standard pattern, I don't know what it is. It's some kind of proprietary thing, which kind of blows. I mean, I don't carry a camelback. I carry a backpack. I don't carry a camelback. So I appreciate having a water bottle on my bike. So I had to buy one of these Velcro strap-on deals, which it works, but it's not as good. So I don't know what they're thinking with that. Maybe there's some frickin' reason they couldn't put a couple helo coils in the carbon frame. I don't know. And the third thing, it's kind of minor, but the shell that unleashes the battery, it's like a plastic shell held in by it kind of slides into 2 shoulder bolts, and then it uses kind of a rubbery, kind of like a rubber bandish thing to lock it down. Well, that thing broke already. So right now I've got it held together with a twisty tie. And you can't really ride it without this plastic shell, because now all the electronics are exposed. You could easily knock the power wire that's powering the battery right off the thing. Picked a worse line than that. So that's the third thing I didn't really care for. That needs to be rethought. Maybe they've done that already, since this is a 2-year-old model. I believe it's 2 years old. So that's my thoughts on this particular e-mountain bike, as far as what I don't like. Still, there are several things about it that are good, and I'll cover some of those. Like the through axles are well thought out. They're toolless. You don't need any tools. Unlike my stupid mountain bike, you gotta carry Allen keys to take your through axle off. These have all clip-in levers that pull out, or quick releases in the front, for example. So kudos there, good thinking. Seems to be very, fairly comfortable. The suspension is very good. Shocks running about 120, and it feels like a Cadillac, baby. It is cushion. Let's look at this baby. I'm standing right in the way. There's the cassette. It's a 51. Big brakes. You can see it back there. Presentation presents well. Got a dropper post. A fairly long travel shock. Not sure what it is, but it's definitely longer than my other mountain bike. And that's what the screen looks like. I'm down. I finally used a bar. And yeah, carbon frame. 20. Can't really tell, but it has a 27.5 in the back and a 29er up front. So got these Fox 36s on here, and this thing is smooth as glass, man. It is very, very nice, especially downhill. So just kind of an overview of the sucker. And how about this view? This Rocky Peak. Another reason that I do like this bike, it rips on the downhills. And it's probably not just this bike, it's probably every e-bike that has some weight, because this thing is so freaking planted in the trail. It's just, you feel so comfortable and so confident in this thing holding the trail, because it's heavy and it just holds this baby. I mean, it's just so planted. Big ass rock right there. I mean, am I faster than I would be on my regular bike? I'm not sure, but it sure feels like this thing's on the ground. It is not bouncing around. It is planted. A big ass rock. And I can just go over this shit with ease. So the long and the short of it is it my favorite bike? No. Would I ride this every day? No. Do I like it better than my regular mountain bike? No. But I do like it. And I do like it for several reasons, as I've stated, but mostly because this bike is a time machine. I've got limited amount of time. I got 2 hours. Give me an epic ride. I'm on this bike. I've got an hour and a half and I have to get back for dinner. I want to do a rip and ride. I get on this bike. I have sore legs from a huge ride and I don't feel like doing anything hard. I want to kind of do a recovery-ish. I get on this bike and still get something epic in. That is why I like this bike. Will I ride this bike now and then? Yes, I will. In all those conditions I've listed above. Because it is a ripper down these hills. So finally, after 3 tries, I finally give you my impression as a regular mountain bike rider riding an e-bike for the first, actually third time. On your rat. So I hope you have enjoyed, as much as I have, ripping this e-bike here on this Rocky Peak Trail. And thanks for watching.